Hello, today I'm going to show you how to scrape football stats using the Sofascore API together with Python. So to start off, we can go to the Sofascore website and we can enter this specific game, Netherlands, England in the Euros. We go to the inspect page and choosing the network tab and the fetch tab. If we refresh the page, you'll see all requests sent to the API. And we can take, for example, the lineups one, and yeah, we can't see it now, unfortunately, but we can right click on it and copy it, and copy the URL and go into, this is Postman I'm using to test the API. You can use, I can link it in the description if you want to use it, or just I'm showing you. So this particular URL gets us the lineups for the game between Netherlands and England, and it shows us all the players and the stats of the players. But to do this in Python, you'll need to import the request library, and if you don't have it installed, you'll just write pip install requests. But as you see, I already have it installed. So install requests, and then you might want to install JSON. So we'll start by making a variable called URL, and we'll assign it to this one. Actually, we just take the event this time. I'll show you how that looks later. And to get the call the API, we'll establish a response, which will equals to requests dot request. So we'll request and we will make a get request to our URL, which is this one. And we want to make our response. I can show you, if we print response.text, we will get all the correct information used. It's basically the same, but to grab some information from this, we will need to make it a JSON object. And to do that, we will call it the JSON data, and we'll equal this to JSON.loads, and then we will load this as a JSON object. So if we print JSON data, you will see no difference, but you'll understand later why this is important. I can actually show you now. So we'll go to the same one on Postman here. It's the same result, it's just better structure here. So you see, we maybe want to get the we can collapse this, and you see the only key or the first key is the event key, and all information is in the event key. So we will have to go through the event key to get our information. And then you'll see maybe the home team and the away team is maybe what we want to get. So if we want the home team, we make a variable called home team, which equals to JSON data, and now we have to filter out which data we want. So firstly, we have to go through the event, as all info was in the event key, and we do that by open these squared brackets and type event, which is the key. And the next key we want to go into is the home team, which is the home team name. So home team, remember to capitalize the T. And then we want the name. So next key, name. This is the home team, and we can do the same for the away team. But just to change the home to away. So if we print the home team and the away team, we should get Netherlands and England, and we do it. So this is basically how you get the information, and that's why it's important to JSONify the object. Um, and the thing with this Sofascore API is that all games are structured in the same way. So if you take another match ID, it will say home team exactly like it does on this one. So that's why you can make a script with it to gather football stats from many games at the same time. So this is the first way how to get it, but there is a problem with the request library, and I'm not quite sure myself what the problem is, but sometimes you get the wrong results, at least for me, and to come around that problem, I use http.client instead of the request library, and I will show you it works. It's just a bit different here, but it will eventually use JSON data again. So import HTTP client and JSON, and also from urllib.parse we want to import the URL parse, and I will show why later. So firstly, we want to get the parsed URL in a variable, and we will parse URL parse the URL. So now we need to establish the connection, which will be the http.client.https connection to the parsed URL.netlog, which is this part of the URL, sofascore.com. Then we want to get a send a request. So request connection.request, same as on the request one, it's a get request. And this time we want to get the parsed URL.path, which is this one. And then we want to establish a response with con.getResponse. Then we want data, which equals to response.read. And then you would probably just do data.decode UTF-8, but we also want to make this an JSON object, so we will do JSON data equals to JSON.loads data decode, like this. And now if we print home team away team, you'll see it works on the same way. So after this we have JSON data, and everything will works as the same, but for some reason this works better for me. But it's up to you, and I will just show in Postman here you can actually generate the code snippets for both the request library and the HTTP client, and you'll see it's a bit different from what I did because I wanted the URL to be a complete URL, and that way I used the parsed URL to get the netlog and path. As you see here, the Sofascore one is the netlog, and this is the path. You can do which way you want, both works fine. And you can also choose if you want to use the HTTP client or the request way. It will ultimately be the same results. So this is basically how you use it, and I will just show you some more ways to use the Sofascore API. So if you have a match ID here, you can not only get the facts about the game, as I showed you, general information, also like I showed you in the start, slash lineups actually, we'll get all the players and the player stats, which can be useful for, yeah, I don't know what, but we can just try to scrape the names here just to show you how it works. So as you see, this time, oops, we can collapse this, and we can collapse this. So this time, not everything is under event, as is what now it's under home and away. So we can start with the home players. So to get in there, we have to write JSON data, and then the key is home this time. And now we're inside the home key, and we want to get the players. So we get in the players. And now we see there is no key, there are just a bunch of JSON objects. And to access them, you would either do it with their index number, which the first one is the 0. So if I would do this, if I print this, you'll see I get the Bart Verbruggen one, as he's the first player. However, you probably want to get all the players, and I would prefer to do a loop for player in JSON data home players. We remove the 0. So now it will loop through everything inside the player, every object. If we just print player, we would get this result, but for every player, as you see here, the same. But we maybe just want the player name for now. So right now, if we write player, we're inside this object. So we're inside this one. So to get to his name, we need to enter the player key and then the name key. So to do that, we don't have to write everything again. We can just write player and then player again to get inside this key, and then we need to get into the name key, which is the name. So this is the player name. So we can access the player name equals the player name. So this is player name, and we can print the player name. So now we'll see all the player names in the home team. So that's how you do that using a loop when there's many objects in one key. And you can also use the statistics to get the overall statistics of the game. It's quite hard to see here, so statistics, and it works in the same way. You have to enter the key, the statistics key, and then we have 3 different ones, so you'll have access them by either entering their index number 0, 1, or 2, or by doing a for loop if you want all of them. And you'll see here is the whole match stats, first half and second half. So if you just want all the games, you'd write JSON data statistics and 0, so just to get the full time stats, and then you'll go to group name and make for loops. You have to look how it's structured and then understand how to access that one. But I have showed you how it works. So that is another endpoint, and that's basically important for a specific match. So have the ID and then statistics or lineups or nothing to get the overall informations. But it's also possible for teams. So to get to a team, we'll write team / and then the team ID. So we can go back to the Sofascore and we'll take a Premier League team. We'll take Arsenal and we'll see the ID here on the link is 42. So by writing team 42, we should also print the JSON data to get right results. You'll see it's the Emirates Stadium and all information about Arsenal. So this is how you access the team. That's that endpoint. What you can do with this, I think maybe you can do, I'm not quite sure, but we can try team 17 / squad or something. Nope, it's not players, maybe. Yep, players. Oh, I write 17. I'm sorry. 42 players. Yeah. So if you write /players, you'll get all the players in the team. Bukai Saka, yeah, as you see. And if you want to see the games of the team, you'll write instead of slash players, you'll write team slash, I think it's event slash last or next, but depending on if we try next 0, this is just the page number, so 0 for the first page. And if there are so many games, you can write a 1 to get yeah, even. But yeah, there actually are some games here, and if we write last instead, you get previous games. So that's pretty easy, and then you can go through the stats of the previous games and also get the which games are upcoming for the team. So that is basically how to, and this works exactly the same as for a player. So if we take a player instead, we'll just change the team to player and the number here to the ID. So if we check here what Saka had, his ID is this one. We'll get a response of his last games. You see, it's European Championship. So the team and player work similarly, just changed this to player or team and the ID to the right object. So this will work as well. And to get all these numbers, like the team IDs, the player IDs, the match IDs, you would probably want to go through the tournament. So, for example, if you want to have the stats for the Premier League teams and the Premier League games, you would want to go to the Premier League, and in the URL you see there are two types of ID, this one and this one. And the first one is the tournament ID, and the other one is the season ID. If we change the season, you see the URL season ID changes. But you only need the first ID to get all other information. You'll get this in the from the API as well. So 17 was the tournament, and to get there we will write the unique tournament slash 17. So we just print this. It's the, yeah, it's quite hard to see here. It's the Premier League and some basic stats, but we maybe want the games or the teams from a specific season, and then we will write slash seasons. And then we'll get all the seasons. So if we want to get the ID season ID from this upcoming season, you would write something like season ID equals to JSON data seasons, and then it's another time where we have to use the index number, and it's the first object since it's the latest, and then the ID key we want. So if we print the season ID, we should get 61. Okay, it's something, yeah, it's wrong URL, sorry. So and then we'll get the right ID for the season, and when we have both the tournament ID and the season ID, we can look through the teams, the games, the standings, and so on, and I will show you just how to do that as well. So when you have the ID here, you'll add that to season, important, no S on the end there, and then the number. And then if you want the teams, you'll just write teams, oops, and send it, and you'll get a list of all teams participating. If you want the standings, you'll write standings, and then total if you want the total standings, or home or away if you want the home or away table. And lastly, if you want the games, you'll write events last 0, but I don't think there are any, but you can write the next. Uh, oh, it's not standings, it's events, just like this. Unique tournament, 17 season, season ID, events next 0, and change it to last, and you can change the 0 to 1, and you'll get even, yeah, even more upcoming games. And it's here you can find the, for example, the match IDs, I think. So for an event, it's the tournament, season, round info, status, home team. You can get the home team and the home team ID here. Man United Fulham, which is the opening game, but also the ID, the start timestamp. And with this information, work your way through with a different URL to get, for example, the match stats, although there are none as this is an upcoming game. But if it would have been a played game, you would have been able to get the match ID and then get the and I can actually show you how it works with like the season ID. We have the season ID here, and then you basically would just I think it would be easiest to just copy it down here after you have that and um, change the URL to a formatted one with season slash, and then we pass in the variable season ID, and then we get the teams just and printing the JSON data, which would work perfectly fine. Yeah, so that was everything for the video. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment if you have any questions.